Hey there, my name is Shannon Shirley and I am your Beachbody coach. Today I'm going to be going over with you the basics of learning how to meal plan to where you're comfortable with it and to where you can be successful each and every week. So what I'm going to talk to you today is I'm going to walk you through the sample meal plan that you'll be getting. And then I'll be talking to you about different ways that you can save time when it comes to meal prepping, make all your food take up less space so it's not as inconvenient for you, and how to save money when you're buying so much food. So first, open up the sample meal plan that I sent you. It should be for whatever plan that you fall into, depending on what workout program you're doing. What I did was to kind of simplify things is while you have a certain number of containers for each day, I broke down the containers for certain meals. So for example, meal plan B. Breakfast is one red container, one green container, one purple container, and one yellow container. It goes throughout the rest of the day for both snacks, lunch, and dinner, that each containers are set up for whatever meal they're designated to. This is just my way of simplifying it. I found that it helped me a lot when I had a set list of what containers I needed to eat and when, instead of just leaving it up to me to guess. As you get more comfortable with meal planning and as you see how it works for your life, you have 100% authority to move them around and change them to however works for you. So the first thing you'll see is that example layout of what containers will be going with each meal. You'll see some notes that there is a breakfast option, that if you pick that one, you've got an alternate snack option, just because I picked one breakfast that, overnight oats is a very popular thing, but it just didn't work with how I had things set up. So I gave you an alternative snack option for that. And with both of the snacks, snack 1 and 2, they don't have to be in that order. They can go in whichever order you'd like. And meals are basically, they're just supposed to be 2 to 3 hours throughout the day, depending on what your schedule's like, how long you're awake, and how long you're going to be eating. Feel free to move that around to your schedule so that it works for you. And as you can see, as you go through the meal plan, I've got a couple different breakfast options for you. I've got a couple different snack options, and then same for lunch. Snack 2 is always going to be your Shakeology. It's your most important meal of the day. It's your daily dose of dense nutrition. And honestly, the amount of nutrition you get in your shake alone makes the rest of the day look pretty average. So it's super important to get that one in, even though we are picking a lot of cleaner and healthier options for the rest of our meals. Then, of course, you've got options for dinner. I didn't give specific cooking instructions for each one just because they're pretty generic, nothing crazy. You can definitely go on to Beachbody On Demand and pull up Fixate. They have a whole line of different recipes from breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinners, desserts, cocktails, anything you name it. And they all have their containers and everything. So if you want something more structured that way, where they show you how to cook it, they'll definitely do that for you. So that was kind of just a little rundown of the meal plan, what you can look for. Basically, all you have to do is pick one thing for each day and then just make a grocery list from that of what you'll need to make those for each day. And voila, you've got a meal plan, a grocery list, and then it'll be nice and easy to prep. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about how you can save time when it comes to meal prepping. I know when I first started meal prepping, it was this huge, daunting task that I was honestly scared to take on because I knew it would take hours, or at least I thought it would. So the first night that I meal prepped, I did everything. I portioned out everything I was going to eat for the week. I chopped and diced everything. I mean, literally all I had to do that week was grab something, and if it needed to be heated up, and it was ready. And even then, it only took me about 4 hours, and I was cooking for me and another person, so it wasn't too bad. But I know that now that I've learned some tips and tricks along the way, it only takes me about 2 hours to really get everything done for the week. And that way, I'm less stressed on Sunday and still less stressed throughout the week. So tip number 1, keep it simple. I am one of those people where you could tell me this is going to be your breakfast for the whole week, and I'm perfectly fine eating it 7 days in a row. That's just how I am. I know not everybody's like that, but the more simple that you keep your meal plan, the easier it's going to be to prep for it. So what I like to do is, if you don't want to keep just one breakfast for the whole week, pick two and alternate between the two. Same thing goes with lunches, and then obviously for dinner you can have a different one each night. Snacks are going to be kind of easy because they're snacks. You know, you can have fruits and nuts each day and it doesn't really get that old. You could switch up what fruits it is and what kind of nuts. But yeah, so definitely keep it simple. Try to do one or two options for breakfast and lunches and just alternate. And then for dinners, you can do a different thing each night instead of having a different thing every single day, because that becomes so much more time consuming when it comes to prepping. And then also another way to save time is by letting your leftovers from dinner become your lunch for the next day. Now, for all meal plans, this isn't going to completely work out with how I have the containers divided, but that's the beauty of meal planning. You can switch those around, make it work. If you have an extra container here or there, either add something to your leftovers to make it fill all the containers, or just rearrange the containers for that day to where everything still evens out. Then, third way to save time is to get some help. If you're living with somebody else, if you have a spouse or significant other, have them help you. If you have some friends who like to hang out on Sundays, get one of your girlfriends to come over and she can help you cook while you guys share maybe a glass of wine or a mimosa maybe. And then, just ask for help. Even if it's a different person each week, a little help goes a long way in the kitchen. And then the final thing as far as time savers goes is make sure you think about how you're doing things. When I started, I was really bad about, okay, I'll cut and dice everything first, then I'll start cooking. Where now I realize I can go ahead, throw everything in the oven, and while everything's cooking in the oven, I can dice and prep everything, and it saves me time that way. So those are my time-saving tips. Now let's go on to how to save space. I completely understand that, especially if you're not the only person in the house, and if not everybody's meal prepping and planning with you, taking up all that space at the beginning of the week can seem a little unfair in other people's eyes. So some kind of tips to minimize on that is whatever you can prep and be able to freeze, make sure you do that, especially like with wraps and like burritos and that kind of stuff. Go ahead and prep them, wrap them up in tinfoil, and you can kind of squish them to save some space. But usually people use a lot more space in the fridge than they do in the freezer. So anything you can prep and freeze, go ahead and do that. And then really the other tip I have is make sure you get the right containers. I know I used to use only the little 3 divided meal prep containers, but honestly, for some of my meals, like when I would make salads, I would only use part of that. So they were taking up a lot more space than they really needed to. So when I switched and got little bowls that took up way less space but still fit everything that I needed to, I was able to save a lot of space in the fridge. So those are my tips as far as saving space goes. And then finally, to save money, because let's be honest, it never hurts to save money, especially when it comes to something like food that you're going to be consuming anyway. You might as well save a little bit of money on it. So first thing is plan, which is what we're doing right now. The more you plan out what you're doing and what you're going to be eating during the week, the less likely you are to go out to eat, stop for a quick extra little snack, and do just little impulse buys here and there. So make sure you stick to this meal plan, and that alone will save you some money. Also, when you are going grocery shopping, make sure you have your list. I like to have mine separated out by category. That way I know everything I need when I'm in the produce section, so I don't have to go back and forth at all. But make sure you stick to that list. It's not on the list, and it's not like, oh, I just completely forgot to put toilet paper on the list. I don't get it. And that has saved me a lot of money, because I am definitely one of those people where if I walk down the aisle and on the end cap there's this beautiful like healthy cookie display, I will definitely grab like 3 of them. So If it's not on the list, don't get it. That'll definitely save you money. And then finally, shop around. It took me a little while to do this, but I have a Sam's Club membership. So what I do every week is I go to 3 different grocery stores. And you're probably thinking, okay, that's a little extreme. It might be a little extreme, but the amount of money that it saves me going to Sam's Club, stopping in there, doesn't take long. I can buy all of my meat in bulk. Some of my fruit I buy in bulk because I eat a lot of it. And then just various things like when I used to drink bottled water and other things you can pick up here and there, things that you eat a lot of. The amount of money you save alone just buying them in bulk. And like for the meats, if I'm not going to eat all of it, I prep what I need to and freeze the rest for next week. So you can save money that way. And then I go to Aldi or I'll go to like farmers markets for most of my produce because it's a whole lot cheaper. And when you go to farmers markets and stuff like that, usually it's local too, so it helps out that as well. And then I only go to like Publix or Whole Foods and the like nicer of the grocery stores when it's something where I really, really care about quality that I know I can't get somewhere else. So like as far as like my breads go, sometimes some random vegetables and fruits that I guess aren't in season, they'll have, but just little things. And if you plan it out ahead of time, where you have your grocery list and you go through and know what store you need to get what from, it actually becomes really, really quick. And so it's a good way to save money. You're in and out of that store a lot faster, so it's less frustration, less money spent. It's kind of a win-win all around. But those are my tips for you guys. You have the sample meal plan. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and we can chat more about it. But I am so excited for you to get comfortable with meal planning and meal prepping and seeing how much it can really save you time, money, stress, and help you feel healthier. So with that, I'll see you guys.